I, 29M, was supposed to get married 3 weeks ago. Instead, I'm sitting in a high-end hotel with a drink in my hand, $18,000 back in my bank account, and a family heirloom ring safely in a deposit box. My fiancé, 27F, and I had been together for 3 years. I work in logistics. I'm a data guy, a spreadsheet guy. I don't do drama, and I certainly don't do gray areas. The wedding was a $60,000 affair. I paid for the bulk of it because I make significantly more than she does. We lived in a house I bought before we even got engaged. Everything seemed solid until a few months ago when she started getting weird with her phone. She claimed it was wedding surprises, and I was stupid enough to believe her. The bomb dropped on a Tuesday night. She was supposedly at her mother's place. I got a text that read, "I need to be honest. I've been seeing my ex. I'm not calling off the wedding. I love you, but I need these last few nights with him for closure. I need to get him out of my system so I can be 100% yours. Please understand. I'll be back Friday. Don't call, I need space." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just went cold. She wasn't asking for permission. She was telling me she was going to cheat on me for 3 days and then expect me to put a ring on her finger. She felt entitled to have her cake and eat it too. I replied with, "Do what you need to do." She thought she'd won. She thought I was the stable provider who would just take it. She was wrong. I spent that night on the phone. First, I called the venue. I was exactly 21 days out. Per the contract, I could get a partial refund if I canceled right then. Since I was the only one who signed the contract and paid for my personal account, the manager processed the cancellation immediately. The $18,000 refund was wired to my account, not ours. I then called the florist, the DJ, and the photographer. I didn't postpone. I canceled everything. I told them the engagement was over and to ignore any calls from the bride. Then I handled the house. Since I owned it and she wasn't on the deed, I moved my essentials into a hotel. I didn't touch her stuff, but I did schedule the utilities to be shut off and changed the Wi-Fi password. Thursday was her bachelorette party. Her friends had planned a surprise tasting at our venue. I sat in my hotel room and waited. At 7 p.m., my phone exploded. 20 missed calls and a text. "The venue says there is no wedding. They kicked us out in front of everyone. What did you do?" I called her back. Her mother and bridesmaids were screaming in the background. She was in her bride-to-be sash, standing in a parking lot. I told her, "I told you to do what you needed to do. I did what I needed to do. Your closure cost you a husband." The next morning, her father called me, acting like the big man. He told me I'd humiliated his family and demanded I reinstate the wedding. I told him that since I was the one paying for it, there was nothing to reinstate. I told him his daughter chose her ex over her wedding, and that was that. Friday afternoon, she showed up at the house. I saw her on the doorbell camera. She had her mom and her maid of honor with her. They tried to get in, but the house was dark and the Wi-Fi was dead. She called me shrieking that I had robbed the house because I took the furniture I bought. Then she tried a dirty trick. She called the police and claimed I had assaulted her before I left, hoping to get an emergency restraining order so she could stay in my house for free while the case was pending. I drove straight to the precinct with a folder. I showed the sergeant my hotel receipts for the last 3 days, my office keycard logs, and most importantly, a voicemail she had just left me. In it, she wasn't scared. She was yelling, "If you don't give me the refund money from the venue, I'll tell everyone you hit me. I'll make sure you go to jail." The cops didn't arrest me. They drove to the house and told her she could leave with her bags or leave in handcuffs for filing a false report and extortion. I watched on camera as they escorted her out. As she was pulling out of the driveway, I saw her holding a velvet box. The ring. It's an $8,000 custom setting with my grandmother's diamond, appraised at $22,000. In our state, an engagement ring is a conditional gift. No marriage means no gift. I blocked her car at the end of the street. I told her to give me the ring, or I'd add grand larceny to the police report and cancel the insurance and registration on the car she was driving, which was also in my name. Her mother was screaming, calling me a small man, but my ex knew I wasn't bluffing. She threw the box at my head and screamed that she hoped I died alone. But the story gets deeper. I found out the ex she was with was actually a married guy with 2 kids. She'd been seeing him for months. I had my lawyer subpoena the guy for a civil suit I filed to recover the remaining $22,000 in lost deposits. Since her infidelity caused the breach of the marriage contract, I was going after her for every cent. The look on her face when she walked into the deposition and saw her closure guy sitting there, terrified his wife would find out, was the best thing I've ever seen. Under oath, the guy had to admit they were having an affair and that she told him she was only marrying me for the house and the money. Her family folded. They realized that if this went to trial, the transcript would become public record. Her dad wrote me a check for the $22,000. I also made her sign a document agreeing to repay the $15,000 I'd spent on her student loans as a gift the year prior, or I'd let the police move forward with the extortion charges. I sold a house, made a huge profit, and moved 2 states away for a better job. She lost her job at a PR firm because the story of her attempting to frame me for domestic violence got back to her boss. Last I heard, she's living with her mom, and the closure guy's wife divorced him and took him for everything. I'm not saying I'm happy. 3 years is a long time to lose, but I'm at peace. She wanted closure, and I made sure she got exactly that for our entire relationship. If you want to make sure your next closure doesn't end in a lawsuit, maybe hit that subscribe button. I promise my updates are cheaper than a wedding florist.